This is the end, beautiful friends. This is the end, my only friends. The end. The 2024 season has come to an end for the Port Adelaide Football Club. Preliminary final against Sydney Swans, the leaders, top of the league, the top dogs, the big boys on campus, the minor premiers at the SCG. It was a hard fight, but we ended up going down. They took control of the game from the start. They kicked straight. Unbelievable they played, Sydney. Scoring shots. They had that week rest against us. We had that rough week against Hawthorn the week before. Probably the most informed team, Hawthorn. The hot ball was defeated last weekend. It was a great game. We showed so much fight and intensity in that game. But Sydney were too good for us. They have so many star players. Our kids just could not keep up. Our defence. No Farrell, no Houston. We had to play Josh Sin, a kid. We had to play Burgoyne in the defence. We had to play Jones in the defence. Aliyah did great. Probably the best player for us that game. Intercepted a lot of good marks, Aliyah. Zerk Thatcher did well. Sweet did well. But where did it go wrong for Port? Our midfielders were pretty average. They weren't at their best. They weren't at their A grade. But it was our forward line once again that let us down. We kicked, 4 goals in the first half of football? Something ridiculous. When Connor Rosie, who's a great player, playing midfield all game, is your highest goal kicker by 2 goals, compared to everyone else in the forward line, you've got a problem. Even Darcy, 1% of Jones didn't do his 1%. Radigalia, again, what was it? 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row as a forward. Still failed to kick a goal. Our issue is 2 things with our team. And it comes down to our 2 coaches. Chad Cornflakes and Box Hinkley. Because it was from selections that we were already behind in that game. Now, I know Marshall got concussed last week, but what does he do? He brings in Dixon. Dixon, who got 3 touches the week before in his last game, decides to play a play that's done. More than done. He's slow. He couldn't even jump. You watch Dixon play. He can't even jump. And we were just bombing it into our forward 50. Our forwards could not lead. They don't know how to lead because they've got Cornflakes as a coach. Our whole forward line is shambles. My first thing would be Cornflakes, sack him as the forward coach. We need a better forward coach that makes our forward line lead into space. Call for the ball. Not just bomb it into the 50 and just stand there hoping that you might get a mark. Radigalia, Dixon, poor decisions by Box Hinkley. This is why Hinkley is a bad coach. It's to do with his selections. Playing Dixon was not going to win us the game. Even if we're going to lose, play one of your young, talented players. I would have preferred him to play Soldo. Because you know what? During that Sydney game, Dixon was playing ruck and forward. That's where he got his touches, was in the ruck. That's exactly what Soldo could have done. He could have played as a ruck forward. Or even play Ollie Lord. I know he's only, 21? 22 maybe? Play him. Get some experience and finals into these players. Not people like Dixon who are a waste of time. Radigalia, next year you're back in defence. Don't play forward ever again, please. Please, Coach Hinkley. Don't get your selections right. Georgiades did okay. I think he's going to have a breakout season next year, Georgiades. You know what? I might even consider putting, not that I'm a gambler, but I might put a sneaky bet on Georgiades to win the Coleman. You heard it from me first. Georgiades to win the Coleman. I'm going to do that next year. But we're going back to Alberton. The players had their exit interviews on Monday. We've already had some announcements. Mackenzie has retired. But I'm still waiting for more delistings to happen. Narkle, delist him. The player that should not be played. Francis Evans, delist him. Jed McEntee, waste of space. I don't know if they're still on contract, these players, but if they are, don't give them contract extensions. There's a lot of changes that need to happen if we're going to make a grand final. I didn't expect us to make the grand final, let's be honest. I didn't even expect them to finish top 4. For a team that they have, finishing prelim, they actually overachieved. But it's not good enough. We need to make a grand final. We need more fight, and we need to get more games into our junior players. But there's talk about Boak going to get an extension next year. They had their exit interviews and Boak's been offered another year. He's on what, 300 and maybe 70-something games, 74 games? And he's been offered another one-year contract. I would say out of the 23 games he probably played this year, he probably did well, good enough, for 20 of those games. But that prelim final, Boak cost us. He was the worst performer on ground. How many times did he turn the ball over? Actually, how many times did the whole team turn the ball over? Like, Sydney kicked 95% of their goals from turnovers. From turnovers. That's bad coaching. You can't even teach a team how to move the ball, how to kick it inside 50 effectively. You're turning the ball over. And Sydney punished us with that. Absolutely punished us with turnovers. You can't play a grand final and play at an A grade level by turning the ball over. There is some positives moving forward for 2025. Butters did okay in the Brownlow. He polled third. And I think Butters, there was a few games that I could see Butters actually not performing at his best. I think Butters could go to a different level. We might see Butters up there in the Brownlow. Jason Horne-Francis, he's improving. He's done better than he did his first 2 years in AFL. Rosie, he was doing well, Rosie, at the start of the year. And then he got injured. Did that hamstring. And they played him with that hamstring. But he did okay. Hopefully we get a good pre-season with our 3 big midfielders. Logan Evans, what a pickup. Sweet, what a good ruckman. So moving forward, let's see what 2025 can bring. And, there's already talk about, Houston wanting to trade to a Victorian team. Soldo wanting to go to St Kilda. We're going to have a busy trade season coming up. And Port are going to be part of that action a fair bit. We need some draft picks. And Houston, we'll see what we get for Houston. And we'll see what club he goes to, because that'll be interesting. So all these players... And welcome Jack Lukosius to the club. I know I've got you in the Gold Coast, Guernsey here, but thank you. Since 2018, he got picked up number 2 in the draft, just after Sam Walsh. And I thought, man, he's a good swing player, but he's been wasted at Gold Coast. Imagine if we could get Lukosius. There is some benefits being from South Australia, because you only got 2 clubs to choose from. You either choose a club that's currently top 4, or you choose a team that's bottom 4. Lukosius, you did the right decision. Hopefully, we don't have to give up too much for him. We probably will. He's on big money. He's on almost $1 million a year. Not sure if Gold Coast are going to take some of that salary, but Gold Coast have basically said to him, look for a trade. Look for a trade. He got dropped towards the end of the season. He did okay. I think he kicked 39 goals as a forward and a defender. He played both positions this year. If he kicks 40 goals for us next year, I'll be happy. Georgiades, he can kick us 50 goals. I'll be happy. So let's see what 2025 will bring us. There's not much I can say, but go Port.